Welcome to episode 12 of Wrestling is Fiction. I'm Zach Hannigan with my partner, Darkstar Shady. Big week for us here at Wrestling is Fiction, as we are going to go over our Money in the Bank card, make our predictions for WWE's Money in the Bank, and do our Raw and Smackdown episodes here in our universe. Let's get into it.
What's up, everyone? Before we get into today's episode, it's time to go through a few of our sponsors. First off, you can head to darkstarshady.com/wrestlingisfiction to find links to everywhere that you can listen to us. From there, you can head to our sponsors page where you'll find a few different links. First off, you'll find the official sponsor of Wrestling is Fiction, Gengar's TCG shop on TikTok. He sells Pokemon cards through his TikTok shop, and he also does live rip and ships where you can have him open cards live on a stream for his audience and mail you your pulls afterwards. I've also partnered with a company called W. They make gaming energy drinks. If you go to w.gg and use code DARKSTAR10, you'll get 10% off your next order. I recommend the Galaxy Grenade flavor, which is watermelon, guava, and lime. I bought a few of their shaker bottles and multiple tubs of their energy drink powders, and I take a drink to work with me almost every day, and it gives me the jitterless energy I need to get through each day. Let's get to today's episode.
All right, welcome back, everyone. Big week, Steven. Our friend Paul Heyman may or may not be dead. Been too many murders in WWE lately, and a legend like Paul Heyman at his age taking a bump through an announce table and a Samoan spike. Pretty good on his part.
Yeah, I know this is jumping way ahead in the episode of SmackDown, but that entire time I was like, come on, someone has to come out and save Paul. Like, they're not really going to let him go through a table.
Yeah, I thought somebody was too. I didn't know who. I was like, maybe Cody, maybe CM Punk's there for some reason.
Waiting for Brock Lesnar's music to hit and him come, like, not Paul, no anyone but Paul. Like,
there was a small part of me that was just waiting for that Roman Reigns pop. It's like, if it's ever going to be it, it's going to be now. Nope, through a table.
Yeah, and there was a bunch of people in the live stream I was watching that all assumed that Jimmy Uso was coming back and maybe he'd come save Paul.
Yeah, somebody.
And then we witnessed a murder.
Yeah, we did. Poor Paul.
I was surprised he did that. He looked pretty rough in general. Like, he hadn't shaved. His eyes were really red.
Yeah, he really sold it.
Yeah, I read a report that said that he keeps himself from sleeping before things like this to really add to the character and make sure that he looks as, like, frazzled as the storyline needs.
Yeah, well, he did.
Yeah, he went through it that night.
I'm still in awe that he did that. Anyway, I know that was kind of the big thing on that episode, but we had some pretty critical Money in the Bank matches. I mean, our girl Tiffy Time is in that women's match, which I don't think anyone's too surprised. Great athlete. I'm looking forward to seeing her in a ladder match to see what she can do. I feel like it's a match that's kind of built for her with that athletic ability, but we'll see. She's with some pretty heavy hitters, so
yeah, that was such a hard match to watch because I'm such a big Candice LeRae fan too.
I know,
and you just know she's not winning that match, and you know that she's probably not making Money in the Bank no matter which qualifier she's in. But it was so hard to see those two in the match together and, like, wanting to cheer for both of them.
Yeah, I mean, there's been some surprises as far as who qualified, but I this week seemed to be the names that you thought would win one. Like, we have LA Knight winning that Money in the Bank match, which I'm actually very surprised. Are we really going to have a Money in the Bank without Logan Paul in it? I know he doesn't necessarily need to be, but it's different.
Yeah, I fully assume that he is going to make an appearance during that ladder match. I assume he's going to be costing LA Knight that title to set up the two of them for SummerSlam. But it was wild to see him take a loss on a SmackDown episode like that.
Yeah, it's weird to see him on a SmackDown episode in a match.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's only ever done one other SmackDown where he wrestled, hasn't it? It was the qualifying match for Elimination Chamber with Kevin Owens.
Yeah, it's something like that. It's a rare appearance.
Which that was a nice one too, because that was here in Salt Lake City, so I got to see Logan Paul and Kevin Owens go at it
There you
here.
go.
But no, I kind of expected Logan to find a way to win that one just to have him on the card.
I did too, but seems slowly they're giving LA Knight more bigger matches and bigger wins, and it looks like obviously eventually a title shot at Logan.
Yeah. And then we had the other women's qualifying match, right? Wow, Naomi, Blair Davenport, and who was the other person? Indy
Hartwell, who had an interesting SmackDown, tries to help Candice win. Then, I don't know, Jade got her back. I know Bianca made an appearance there. They're keeping that Bianca and Jade tag team together for now. I really thought they would just kick off the rivalry right away and use these matches as a way to do it, but seems like they're still a strong tag team for now.
Yeah, and I don't know that I pictured Naomi winning that match and being in the Money in the Bank either.
I did not either.
I kind of liked Blair Davenport for that spot.
Well, the way they've been giving her promos backstage and stuff, it felt like she was going to win that match.
Yeah, and then just the weird Naomi and Bayley backstage moment where Naomi's like, if I get that briefcase, I have to come after you, right? And Bayley's like, no, it's fine, whatever. We'll get to that when we get to that. Not even a moment of like,
does not have to come after her, but okay.
No, not even a moment of like, there's another champion. We can both hold these titles together.
Yeah.
Just full on like, Bayley, I'm coming after you. Like, I'm going to win this and take your title.
Yeah, so much for the friend thing, I guess.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's a weird storyline where they're supposed to be friends this whole time, but Bayley's just kind of playing entirely too dumb in this role, I feel like.
She played dumb in Damage Control for however long, too, so...
she did, but I feel like that should kind of show her a little more like, hey, you got to look out for yourself a little more than you are right now.
Yeah, her championship run has been different than I anticipated. She's still kind of this bubbly character. I was hoping to see a little more, like you said, nuance and darkness to the side of her when she won that title, being that, the faction she created turned their back on her.
Yeah, they just need to give her more like they gave her with Piper Niven. Give her a little bit of a stronger competition. Take away a little bit of the happy-go-lucky best friends, no matter who is fighting for the title. Give her a little more edge that she's built up over the last few years.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Whoever wins Money in the Bank could very well be going after Bayley, so something to look out for. And it kind of seems like Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton are on some kind of collision course for that title too.
Yeah, no, their friendship is developing really interestingly.
Yeah.
Nia Jax being out there with Tiffany Stratton after the end of her match and doing the little Tiffy time wrist motions with her, and that's a friendship that I didn't quite see happening on SmackDown. I shouldn't be surprised because they are always together on social media. They seem like they do all their traveling together, but I didn't expect it to come across on screen.
I guess they talked Nick Aldis into it.
Yeah, and I'm not really against it because it gives Nia Jax a lot more to do, gives her more to her character than just coming in, ruining a championship match and losing again.
Well, it's weird, right? Because Nia was a huge heel on Raw with the Becky Lynch rivalry. Comes to SmackDown, and Tiffy, I think, is trying to be a heel the way her character acts and such, but the crowd obviously loves her anyway. And now it's a heel tag team for some reason getting turned face because the crowd doesn't want to not root for Tiffy.
Yeah, yeah,
Fun.
they're definitely an interesting pairing, and I don't know. It definitely, like I said, it gives more nuance to Nia Jax, gives her more to do, gives her a little more purpose on SmackDown than she had on Raw, other than just kind of disrupting things. And honestly, she's done really well since she came back to WWE, and I think being with Tiffany and getting a little bit of the crowd behind her will help as well.
Yeah, it definitely will. And I think Naya has a really good social media presence too, which honestly has made me like her more since she's come back. So
Yeah, same. I really enjoy her social media. I don't know if you watch TikTok much, but her and Tiffany Stratton are always in videos posting together, and they're pretty fun together.
yeah. All right, what else we
Um,
have on SmackDown? There was
well, we did skip the big opening.
yeah,
Bloodline came out, and they got attacked by Cody, Kevin Owens, and Randy Orton.
who
And
immediately
it
got
was
kicked out.
yeah, but it was nice to see some fire from the good guys this time.
Yeah, it
They
was.
weren't
It
given up
was.
too. They weren't given up too easy. They didn't get beat down. They stood tall in the ring,
It
and
was a very
uh,
bloodline esque thing to do to the bloodline. Pop out of a vehicle and go fight.
yeah, and then they attacked all the security, and Cody gave a crossroads to the future WWE champion.
Yeah, who sold the hell out of that thing? Like
Yeah, I don't
landed
know who
on
that
his
guy is.
face and like jumped out of the ring.
Yeah, I don't know who that guy is, but if he's not like in developmental already or on their
Yeah,
radar like he is now,
he needs to be. You know, your boys A Town Down Under had a run in with DIY, and it made me think about your show. It's interesting how our storylines are starting to interconnect with some things.
yeah, it's taken a long time for A Town Down Under to get to the point where they're at, where they are showing a little more friction, and there was this backstage fight with DIY. Honestly, I expected DIY to have a title match against them far sooner than now. Um, but it was interesting seeing Grayson pop out of nowhere and attack them, and Austin Theory be like, "What are you doing? Let's get out of here! Come on, we got to go. Just stop it."
Yeah, that bad tag team when Austin Theory is the reasonable one.
Yeah, right. And I think it's funny versus the Wrestling is Fiction universe how differently DIY is being portrayed right now, where they're playing these nice guys, trying to tell Austin Theory that he's like not in a good relationship, basically. And I've got DIY just beating people with weapons behind the
Yeah,
ref's back.
it works for Johnny Gargano, but I don't. Champa's just not good at being the nice guy. Just the way he looks and the way he wrestles. Um,
Yeah,
it's a
yeah, and
good, it's a fun tag team, you know.
that's kind of why I've had DIY on my end, having Johnny Gargano play more of the like oblivious one or the one who's not trying to use the weapons, because I do like the way they're using him in WWE, but yeah, I don't know. Tommaso Ciampa doesn't seem believable right now. I'm waiting for them to get a little darker or him to turn on Johnny right before they get their title match. Something weird to happen.
Yeah, you know, every time I see them, I always feel like they're a one moment away from Champa hauling off and hitting Gargano, but it never
Yeah.
happens. So I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do with them.
Yeah, they were fun for a minute when they were riffing off of R-Truth, calling them DX and kind of leaning into that a little bit. And then they just immediately dropped that to go straight to the nice guys that are just, come on, Austin, we care about you. He's not good for you.
Well, he's not. I mean, they're telling the truth, but how is it in
Yeah.
their best interest to let to try to get Austin to realize that? Like, I feel like you would want to fight a tag team that's not working well together.
Yeah, I I don't know. I feel like they should have waited until after their match against them for the titles to kind of split them apart a little bit so they don't go for a rematch or something like that. Make it a little more natural.
Well, we'll see. DIY has been getting several title shots, it seems, lately, so
Yeah, hopefully they win one of them just because I do want to see Johnny Gargano have some success
I think it's
regardless
coming.
of regardless of me saying that the team isn't quite working the way they should. I do want Johnny Gargano to have something.
Yeah.
Um
Um, you want to move to
during
Raw?
the Logan Paul part, they did have a bunch of little special guests come in. That was an interesting little moment where I would have liked to see a little more action in that, honestly, rather than just a little bit of a face off that everyone backs
Well,
away
I
from.
don't think the NBA wants their players out in a ring fighting,
Yeah, but they could have hit
especially
Logan with a chair or something.
especially their stars. Um, Weird seeing Tyrese Halliburton play a villain for the Indiana Pacers because I remember when the Sacramento Kings drafted him, and we thought he was going to save that team, and it just hurts to know that he's doing it for somebody else, not to
Yeah,
split away from wrestling. But yeah, it hurts, man.
yeah, no. There's been many times over the years where we've thought, "Oh, the Kings, this is their time to come back. This is the player that's going to change it," and it's been a
Like, nah,
long
we don't
22
want
years.
that
It's been a long 22 years, Zach.
guy. Speaking of ladder matches, I would feel remiss if I didn't tell this story because you've seen the picture. Um, the legend Jeff Hardy, I ran into at a Red Hot Chili Peppers concert about a week ago. End of the concert, we got in line to buy a T-shirt, and I'm standing there with my wife, and a younger guy behind me goes, "I think that's Jeff Hardy. It kind of looks like him." And I look, I turn to this kid, I'm like, "Kind of does," and I tell my wife, I was like, "That's Jeff Hardy." She's like, "Who's that?"
That's
I was like, he was probably my favorite wrestler growing up. Iconic TLC matches. And she goes, "You should go talk to him." And I'm like, "Nah, I don't want to bug him. I don't want to bug him." Uh, had just enough beers, I think, and enough convincing from my wife for her to get me to go over there and talk to him for a little bit and take a picture. So, childhood dream realized here in my 30s, uh, meeting Jeff Hardy.
yeah, that's super cool that you met him, and especially just outside of a wrestling setting where he's probably a little more chill too.
Yeah, what a night! A Red Hot Chili Peppers concert, meeting Jeff Hardy. I don't think I'm gonna have a summer day to top that one.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I don't think I've ever met any wrestlers from WWE.
Really?
No, I photographed one. I photographed
Okay.
John Cena at a Comic Con,
Huh.
but at least I think I did. There was a hat floating in the air. Um, no, but he was really cool. He was kind of out of character. This was a few years back, and he
Yeah.
did a good 45-minute panel. But yeah, other than photographing him from the press stand, I don't think I've ever run into anyone.
Uh, I've never run into anyone like that. I met Rey Mysterio when I was a kid at some kind of I don't even know what it was. Some kind of workout convention,
Okay,
supplements maybe. But the only reason I was there was to meet Rey Mysterio. So I have
no,
his
that's fair.
autograph on something somewhere in my childhood home, but
Nice.
wasn't Jeff Hardy.
No, that's cool. That's a cool one. Jeff was I'm not gonna. I got into wrestling, I think, a little bit after you did, so I don't quite have as many memories of some of their really big matches. But Jeff Hardy was always one of my favorites when he was on TV. I think it was hard to not root for him.
Yeah, the way he just launched himself off of tall things.
Yeah, and just the really cool entrance with him, Matt, and Lita too when they were all together. Like, I did get some of that. I did get to see him wrestle a little bit here and there. So I think everyone liked Jeff Hardy as a kid.
All right. We mentioned potential team splits earlier. What do you think? Damian Priest seems to be inching his way out of Judgment Day more and more.
Yeah, it's got to be leading to his face turn, and at this point, it's got to be leading to everyone else kicking him out because he's not playing the role that they need from him, basically, in the Judgment Day. Speaking from their side, I think Finn would be right when he says, "You are the problem right now, not Liv Morgan." She's buying them PlayStations, she's bringing them chicken nuggets, she's hanging out with them, she's
Got
got
him
him a title shot,
yeah. But
and Damian Priest just shows up to just kick her out, get mad, and say, "Quit screwing around and playing games. We got to go fight Braun Strowman. We got to go fight this person."
you think Seth Rollins about tired of getting attacked by Finn Balor now?
I I really like the moment where Seth was just like, "You're just mad that Damian did what you couldn't, and he took the title."
Yeah.
Like, even he's helping build that story in between Finn and Damian, which
If you
I
need
see
an
so many
instigator,
people.
that's a
I
good
see so
one.
many people online saying Finn and Damian's happening no matter what, and it's a big enough match; it doesn't need the title. And I kind of hate that because I feel like the title would make that match a lot more
Yeah, I mean, I
important at
agree
this
it
point.
doesn't need it, but it'd be nice for Finn to have a title run.
Yeah, or just even the fact that Finn couldn't beat Seth, Damian did, and let's see if Finn can take Damian on while he's got the title that he wanted.
Uh,
It
we'll
just
see
adds a
if
little bit more to it.
Damian wins Money in the Bank at Money in the Bank because I thought it was a slam dunk, but they're making me doubt a little bit with this. I can handle myself business.
Yeah, I want to see Damian win just because I don't want the reason he leaves Judgment Day is a stipulation with Seth. I want to see him get kicked out by the Judgment Day. I want to see him turn on them and leave the Judgment Day. I don't want to see him leave because he
Yeah,
put a weird clause on a match.
yeah,
Like, I want that
I
story to
agree with
play out.
that.
I want that story to play out a little bit more
And I think
from
they
them and
will.
not from an outsider.
I think they will. I don't see Seth coming back and immediately getting his world title back.
Yeah, especially with Seth having the stipulation, I can't challenge for the title as long as you're champion if I lose. That just means that 2-3 months from now, when Damian loses, Seth gets his title shot again. It doesn't
Yeah,
mean he's going to go 2 years without a title shot.
well, probably to Gunther.
Yeah, that's what I'm assuming will happen, and I think it would make the Judgment Day storyline a little better if Damian retains and they break apart because of themselves, not because of Seth.
Well, it'd be a good opportunity to bring Rhea back into the fold too, to either save it or help dissolve it and get Damian out of there.
Yeah, and speaking of Rhea, that moment with Damian and Dom walking up to the Judgment Day's little like clubhouse, and he's like, "Hey, you talked to Rhea? How are things?" And Dominic's like, "Oh, things are good. We're good. We talked." And Damian, "How are you, Damian?" He's like, "I'm great, but Rhea's not. We just got off the phone."
Yeah.
And Dom just immediately caught, and he's like, "Shit." And then and then of course they open up the door, and Liv Morgan's in there laughing and hanging out with Finn, JD, and Carlito.
Of course.
Just, "Oh, I was just leaving. Bye, guys."
Yeah.
Somehow Carlito remains a member of the Judgment Day.
Yeah, I don't even know if he is. They let him
I
hang
don't know
out
if
there.
he knows if he is. He thinks everything's cool.
Um, speaking of Liv Morgan, she won her title match against Zelina Vega. Nice to see Zelina get a big match like that, and then the
Yeah,
deadbeat dad Rey Mysterio beat Dom. So
I really enjoyed the couple moments where Dom was supposedly cheering on Zelina, and he was on the side of the apron, and Ray's on the same side as him. They're both like leaned
yeah,
forward the same way, like, "Come on, Zelina, come on!"
yeah,
Before they kind of realize they're too close to each other and get mad again.
yeah. It's
Um,
it's they're playing out this story pretty well, I think.
Yeah, and I know I said that last week that Zelina's size may be one of the things that holds her back in WWE's eyes. But man, she looks so tiny next to Liv Morgan.
I know, and Liv is not
And
that big.
yeah, and when she was being interviewed by Kathy Kelly, Liz was watching with me, and she's like, "Oh my god, she's tiny."
Yeah, she is.
Just yeah, but despite that, she puts on such good matches, and she
She
has such good
does.
mic skills as well.
She
Um,
does. It's hard to suspend the disbelief with her sometimes, I think, in actual
yeah,
matches.
yeah, they've just got to give her like if she is gonna win, I think it has to be purely on speed and stamina rather than strength.
They really need to introduce that mid card title, I think, for people like Zelina.
Yeah, I think she would be a great first champion for that title, if not first person to beat the first champion for that title. I think she could go on a really good mid card run. I know they keep putting her near this world title picture for the women, but like against Liv, the way that Liv Morgan of all people, who's not huge, was like fully just powerhouse manhandling her. It's so hard to see her winning against anyone.
It is, and I guess that's it. That's Raw Judgment Day show again. No,
Yeah.
um, Uncle
I do
Howdy
want to
looks
say,
to be evil ish. Bo
yeah,
Dallas, I don't know. Firefly Funhouse is back. That's fun.
yeah, I did like the moment where Chad was like, "Hey, you took the fireflies; they should be coming after you." And Jay's like, "Well, hey, he can have fireflies. I'll take the mosquitoes." Just what?
Jay's like the last thing I need. It's the Wyatt
he's
Six
like,
after me.
he's like, "I got one family issue already. I don't need
Yeah,
another family."
yeah,
No, but that was just the mosquitoes. That was so ridiculous. And then
um,
poor Chad Gable just getting haunted by these guys, and
yeah. I don't know what Chad Gable did, but um, I guess they needed
yeah,
to
after
give him
that's
something to do.
yeah, it's just not who I expected them to target first as they came back.
I mean, I don't know. The Uncle Howdy mentioned they worship false prophets and all this, and I don't know if that was the shot at Chad Gable propping himself up like that to Alpha Academy, but I mean, for that matter, you could do it to Damian Priest. You could do it
Yeah,
to, you know, Grayson
go
Waller.
down go down to NXT and attack
Yeah,
Chase U. Be like, how dare you guys look up to Andre like this?
yeah, I know.
Um, yeah, I do have to say, I really hope Chad Gable does not win Money in the Bank, just because I hate him saying Master in the Bank.
Yeah, it's not a fun thing to hear.
No,
I
and
don't know.
I was in
I
a live
mean,
stream I was in a live stream and everyone's just like, God, he's just master banking everywhere.
no, not, now that Drew is in that match, though, like it's hard for me to see anyone else winning.
Yeah, I I don't know. It's so weird because I just feel like ladder matches don't suit Drew McIntyre at the same
No,
time.
they don't, and I don't think he needs to be in Money in the Bank. I feel like he'd get his title shot organically without doing that, but
Yeah, I think they just have to have him in that big picture. Have to have him in the PLE. I don't know if CM Punk somehow comes out and screws him out of a ladder match now again,
yeah,
and he
that's
just continues to be the
probably.
face who ruins his life.
Yeah, still
um,
will never understand how that is, but
it just because that's what the people want, Zach. That's what the people want.
all right. Well, I
Um,
want.
I do want to mention though, is Dominic ever going to get a win over Ray?
No.
Like, like the day that Dominic wins over Ray, I'm buying a cake that night.
Yeah, Ray
Like,
will be like 75 years old before they let that happen.
yeah, he's gonna be like someone's gonna have to lift his legs up for him to hit a 619, and he's still gonna
Yeah.
beat Dominic. But
Yeah.
no, the day that Dominic finally beats Ray, I'm buying a cake. I'm celebrating. I I just want to see him win over him at some point. But at the same
Speaking of,
time,
if we're ever gonna win, is the Final Testament ever gonna do what they say they're gonna do?
Yeah, I don't know.
Just like Karrion loses that match, obviously. Whatever. It was the small package, so kind of protected him. And I know they attacked Kofi afterwards, but it's like
Yeah, where were the officials for that?
if you if you want to be a big faction, like you can't win a match against Xavier Rhodes. What are they
Where?
doing with the Final Testament?
Yeah, I'm honestly surprised that AOP didn't take the tag titles just to give the faction a little more legitimacy.
Something.
But where were the officials at the end of that when they were attacking Kofi? Like he sat there just trying to break his arm for so long before the ref
I
finally
know.
came in after
I
like
know.
5 minutes and was like, "Hey, maybe you should let him go. Please let him go, sir." We had
Oh,
over on SmackDown, we had how many officials to break up the bloodline and
I know.
uh, them just for a casual little brawl, but over here we've got someone trying to murder another man, and they're just, yeah, it's fine, we'll let it go.
Yeah. Yeah. A former
Um,
WWE champion, and just let him get killed.
yeah, I mean they let him get killed against Brock when he became WWE champion, so can't
Yeah, that's
expect much, I
true.
guess. Um, I think we have two more things for Raw before we move on to our show. We've got the women's qualifying match for Money in the Bank. Ivy Nile, Dakota Kai, and Zoe Stark.
Yeah, nice to see Zoe get a win.
Yeah, yeah, it was. I wanted to see Dakota win. I knew she wasn't because Damage Control is just falling apart, but
I see this all over the internet. People clamoring for Dakota Kai to get a shot, and I agree she can get a bigger push, but her problem has been injuries. Every time she gets some heat, it's like she's out for 6 months. And I mean,
yeah,
until she can stay healthy for an extended period of time, it's like, what do you want Triple H to do?
yeah. Ivy Nile looked good in that match though too.
She
I
has looked
I wish
good.
she.
She's come up to the main roster. They just don't do much with her.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is I'd like to see her just be more prominent, even if she's not winning every match or in the title. Just give her matches. Let her show off what she can do.
Yeah.
Let the crowd learn who she is really, because she looked good in that match,
Yeah.
even despite losing.
I don't know that the Creed brothers get up and gimmick is necessarily conducive for fans to start loving you, but you know, Kurt Angle kind of started out that way as this goofy guy, but eventually got a bunch of heat when he came out. So we'll see with the Creed brothers. I was hoping they were hooking up with Chad Gable and doing something with that. Hopefully that's still a thing. Although they may not want
Yeah,
to with the Wyatt Six lurking around.
yeah. Hopefully, he doesn't get like kidnapped or something before he can get together with them. Who
Yeah.
knows what's gonna happen there? And then we had quite possibly the most intense main event in a while. Sheamus, Ilya, and Drew
Yeah.
McIntyre.
I'm
That was a
surprised that
big
was on
match.
free television.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's a big match for a
it
qualifying
is.
match at that.
It is. Hell of a way. I mean, if you're Ilya, you're probably happy to be in a match like that already. Um,
Yeah.
and I think we kind of probably expected Drew McIntyre to win that. Although I'm with you, I don't know that I love him in ladder matches, uh, or Sheamus for that matter. Probably would be great in a ladder match. Just
Yeah, I almost expected Ilya to find a way to pull out that win just because I didn't picture the other two either
the
being in a
way
match like
things
that or needing that match.
the way things had been going in those qualifiers, I mean, I don't think I would have been surprised if Ilya did pull it out. But
No,
again, I just think Drew is their guy right now.
he is. I just, like you said, I don't think he needs this. I don't think he needs to have the briefcase to be a contender.
Yeah.
And Sheamus, they've had in this mid card picture, and in other storylines, so it just kind of seemed out of nowhere that suddenly he was with Drew and Ilya.
Well, also too, they've been pushing this Drew and Sheamus are friends thing, and then they're
Yeah,
trying to kill each other in a qualifier. Um,
yeah, and
hey, I'm
Ilya
not
looked good
mad
out
at it.
there. Like, I think everyone knows Drew and Sheamus can put on a great match at any time, no matter the build up or story between the two of them. But Ilya looked good with them as well. He fits in with that style despite being a little smaller than them.
He does. He does.
And his little intro where he was like, "I'm gonna win the briefcase or die,"
I,
and I almost feel like that wasn't storyline, and that's just the person he is I will literally die doing this, and I
it's
don't
the
know if
most.
anyone's told him that this is scripted.
It's the most Russian thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, like that man scares me.
Yeah, he's a
Just in general,
little twisted.
just in general, I'm like, this guy is terrifying, and I don't know if he knows that this is scripted because I feel like either he is actually going to die or murder someone just because.
Talking about terrifying guys, I mean, Sami Zayn might die at Money in the Bank.
Yeah, they had a wild sequence there where that spear came so quick in the ring from Braun before he decided to chase him down, and Sammy just popped over him.
Yeah, obviously, I don't think Braun will win Money in the Bank, but it's nice to see him in the ring with champions, and they've kind of ripped the band-aid off as far as fighting jobbers and stuff was. Uh,
Yeah,
he's getting real matches.
yeah, it's nice seeing him wrestle actual wrestlers now.
But yeah, and face a little adversity in the ring.
Yeah, for a second there I thought Sammy was gonna come back and beat him down, but no, another spear. Just he's so quick, he's so scary fast. Um, so that's gonna be an interesting match, and I think that can take us into let's do predictions for Money in the Bank real quick before we go into our show.
Let's do it.
So I've got the card up right here. So we've got the 6-man tag match: Cody, Randy, and KO versus the Bloodline, and they haven't announced which 3 members of the Bloodline are going to be wrestling either. How do you see that one going?
So, assuming Jacob Fatu isn't doing international dates, I don't know. This is tough. I'm gonna say the Bloodline pulls it out, as much as I don't
Okay.
want them to.
Yeah, I was going to say the Bloodline as well, just because they can have Cody lose a match that's not for the title rather than him being a little too invincible going forward. It might be good for him to have a little adversity in the ring versus this match that I'm not going to say it doesn't matter, but there's no stakes behind it really.
It really doesn't matter for
They just
any of the people involved.
yeah, and it's kind of like Roman was doing, where he'd pop up for a random tag team match rather than defending
Yeah,
his title.
yeah,
But I think it would be good for Cody to take a loss while he's champion rather than just nonstop
exactly.
dominant winning. So I could see the Bloodline taking that win. I can see it being a pretty brutal match and maybe just continuing the beatdown or the fight after the match is officially
You know,
called.
it's funny because that kind of goes along with the narrative we talked a few shows ago. Is Randy ever going to win at a PLE?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I don't think this is the PLE he's gonna win at.
No, I don't either.
Um, I hope he doesn't take the pinfall or the loss if it's gonna be the
It's
Bloodline's
always
way.
KO, man.
It is. I honestly wouldn't mind seeing Cody get pinned for this though either.
Yeah,
Like, I know they need to protect. I know they need to protect the champion, but if they can do a 3 or maybe even 4-on-1 if the 4th member shows up, give Cody a little bit of a challenge. Give him something to fight for where he doesn't seem like he can't be beat by anyone.
yeah, I don't see him getting pinned, but I definitely
I
see his team losing.
Yeah, I don't see him getting pinned either, but I think it would be interesting if he did, just because he's not Roman Reigns. He's not going to go 3-4 years without getting pinned.
Yeah,
And if he's going to take a loss, let him take a loss in something that means nothing at all.
yeah.
Um, then we've got Sammy versus Braun, which we just mentioned, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming Sammy's retaining.
Yeah, I'm going with Sammy too. Don't think we need to talk too much about that one.
Yeah. I think I said it a couple weeks ago. Braun is the kind of wrestler I can see beating Sammy, but I don't think this is the time it's happening.
No, too soon and into Sammy's run, I think.
Yeah. And then we've got Damian Priest and Seth Rollins. This is completely unrelated, but they've been making such a big deal out of Netflix being uncensored for wrestling.
Yeah,
Have you heard the TikTok sound of like people reacting to, oh, this is what it's going to be like for Monday Night Raw going forward?
yeah, the Seth fucking Rollins.
Yeah.
Like,
I hope they do that. Just I half expected Samantha to fuck up and like start to say it.
yeah, I think they'll do it just once. Pat McAfee or somebody
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. I just a one off like, oh, it's Seth fucking Rollins. I just think that would be funny. But yeah, for that one I'm calling Damian Priest retaining.
Yeah, Seth, you're my boy. You are probably my favorite wrestler right now, but I don't think you're walking away with the title either. I got
Yeah.
Damian
If
too.
if somehow Seth wins, I'm assuming it's going to be a complete role reversal and Finn Balor comes out there to distract and watch the match. But
Yeah, I think it's. I don't know. I
but
think
honestly, I think
SummerSlam is where we see the real Judgment Day storyline play out more.
yeah,
Um,
I wouldn't be surprised if Finn did break Damian's plea to not show up and he does come out, but I
oh, I
don't think it'll
definitely
cost
think he's
Damian.
going to.
I think Damian, yeah,
JD and Dom never listen to that, so
no.
you
Who
got
knows?
Liv
Maybe we'll get.
Morgan too.
I was like, yeah, maybe Liv Morgan will just be on commentary for the
Yeah,
match.
yeah,
But no, I wouldn't be surprised if Damian retains, and even with any shenanigans out there.
yeah.
Okay, then we've got the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. We've got Io Sky, Chelsea Green, Lyra Valkyria, Tiffany Stratton, Naomi, and Zoe Stark.
Um, I would love to see Chelsea Green win, but I'm going Tiffany Stratton.
Yeah, I think Chelsea Green would be really fun, but
Yeah,
Tiffany Stratton's been my favorite for this since she got called up to the main roster.
yeah.
I've been assuming that Money in the Bank was her time.
It just feels like that.
Yeah, plus a ladder match, and she's so athletic, acrobatic. Like it just seems like a good fit
Yeah,
for her to be
I could
climbing up
like,
there. And
and I don't see EO winning 2 years in a row. Um, Zoe Stark, Naomi, it doesn't seem like they're doing too much with them in main event pictures. So
yeah, and if Naomi does want to take her shot at Bailey, I don't think she needs the briefcase to stay on her own
no,
show and challenge for a title. I think she could just
exactly.
be like, "Hey Bailey, I know we're friends, but fuck you, I'm taking your
I
title."
mean, Bailey's already given her a title shot, so
Yeah,
um,
and I think Tiffany would just be really fun with that briefcase,
oh yeah,
especially
she'd
if
be
she
so
somehow uses Nia
irritating.
Jax as like her enforcer bodyguard while she's got it.
You have a queen and Miss Money in the Bank in the same team. They're gonna be so irritating.
Yeah, that would be just really fun dynamic, I think. So
Yeah.
yeah, Tiffany Stratton. And then the men's matches where I'm kind of struggling a little more. So we've got Jey Uso, Carmelo Hayes, Andrade, Chad Gable, LA Knight, and Drew McIntyre.
All right. So here's I've been doing process of elimination. I think Chad is stuck in his Wyatt 6 story for now. So I don't see him winning the briefcase, although it would be a fun dynamic to it. Um, Carmelo Hayes, I just think it's too soon for him to be winning matches like that, although I really wouldn't be surprised if he did. That's why I'm kind of stuck between Drew and Jay. And I'm going to go with Jey Uso simply for the fact that I think CM Punk is going to screw Drew again somehow.
Yeah, I just feel like Jey Uso fits the match better than Drew does. He fits the style. So
Yeah.
I've said Jey Uso's going to win this for a while now, I didn't
I
expect.
just
I don't know that I expected Drew to be in this match at all.
I can see Jey Uso losing though because they never seem to give him these matches.
Let's be real. If Jey Uso wins, he's gonna fail his cash in somehow.
Yeah,
I I don't know. I think it would be also really interesting if somehow the Wyatt Six is controlling Chad Gable
yeah,
and they take the briefcase from him. Like he wins the briefcase and he just kind
yeah,
of like zombie walks over. He's like, "Here you go."
yeah. I don't even know
Um,
if the Wyatt Six is actually mad at Chad Gable. It just seems
no.
like they like to interrupt him and hand out videotapes.
Yeah, like they haven't attacked him in any way since he
No,
was shot, hit, bitten, who knows, but
whatever happened to him.
he's terrified of them. Obviously, he's got some trauma, but they're just like, "Hey, Michael Cole, how are you today? Here's a box."
Poor Michael Cole sitting there.
And honestly, poor Andrade because we just went through how everyone in this could probably win except for him.
I didn't even expect him to get into the match, which I'm
No,
happy about. But hell, Money in the
I
Bank is
think
one of those things you really don't know. He could win.
yeah, and I think it's a really interesting thing to have LA Knight and Drew McIntyre in there because we've got the opportunity for CM Punk to come out and ruin the moment for Drew. We've obviously got Logan Paul who can come and ruin LA Knight's moment to set up more of their feud.
Yeah, this match to me is missing AJ Styles, and I wish he was in it, but I won't go into that again.
Yeah. But there's three different people that can believably interrupt this between the Wyatt Six, Logan, CM Punk. Who knows? The Bloodline can come screw Jay out of it just
Yeah.
because they can. Um, Carmelo's just there. There's no one really got a problem with him.
Well,
Yeah,
Trick
unless Randy just
Williams.
comes back and Randy comes out and he's like, "How dare you pin me, bitch!"
Yeah, yeah, really.
RKO off the top of the ladder.
Yeah, yeah.
But no, I think it's gonna be Jay. Just because I don't know, Drew McIntyre feels like an afterthought in this match.
Yeah, I don't think he needed to be in it. He's already in the world championship picture, so I don't.
Yeah, and at no point was he showing any interest in the briefcase or.
Yeah, until he was like, "Oh, I'm going to do it this way now." Like, okay.
Yeah, there was no reason for it. They could have had Ilya in the match just to give
I
him
would
a
have
bigger
rather have
moment.
seen Drew and Damian at Money in the Bank, and I think I would have loved to have seen Seth in that match instead of Drew McIntyre.
Yeah.
Seth fits the ladder match style too, so
Hey, Seth said he wanted to be in the Money
I
in the
know.
Bank match, and Damian was like, "No,
No.
just come fight me. I wanted to use my briefcase on you. Come fight me, bitch."
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I think those are our recaps, our predictions. Let's get into our shows now.
Let's do it.
All right, so SmackDown July 5th. It's the night before Money in the Bank, so we've got not a huge show, but there are going to be some things getting set up here. So this is going to start off with Liv Morgan coming out to the ring. She won her title over Bayley in the 45-minute Iron Woman match. She's ready to just come out there. She's showing off her title. And she just comes out in the ring, letting the crowd kind of, I don't know, some of them are booing, some of them are cheering. They're very mixed. And she just holds up her title and she's like, "You know what? This is just the beginning for me. I am now your champion, and I'm just going to go on a reign of terror and just make sure that this women's locker room fears me. I don't care who comes at me. I don't care who my next challenger is. Doesn't matter. I'm keeping this title, and all of you are going to be put into your place." And that's when, of all people, Blair Davenport's music hits. And she comes out just on the entrance ramp, and she's like, "You know what? Say whatever you want, but I'm actually going to win that Money in the Bank briefcase tomorrow, and I'm coming after your title. You won't be ready
Dude.
for me. It's going to be the last moment you expect, and I will be there, and I am taking that from you." And as she starts to continue on, Gigi Dolan comes out and just attacks Blair from behind. And she's like, no, I've been taking a lot of the hits. It's time for me to attack someone else, and I'm actually going to be the last contestant in that match. So I'm going to be taking that briefcase and coming after whichever champion I feel like.
Be interesting to see who wins that women's match, won't it?
Yeah, and Liv Morgan's kind of just in the ring, and she's like, okay, peasants. Just kind of brushes it off and just walks past him.
Yeah, as she should.
Yeah. And backstage, it's we've got Damage Control back there, and Dakota Kai is talking about being in the Money in the Bank match. But she's like, but first we have a tag team title match. Kyrie, I know that you've got a title shot in the next week or two against the women's national champion, but right now I'm putting you in a tag team title match with Io Sky, and you guys are going to go up against Candice and Indy right now. So Damage Control comes out for their title match, and then Candice and Indy come out, and it's a fairly standard tag match up until Indy Hartwell gets down there out of the ring, and she attacks Dakota Kai, and it doesn't distract Kyrie Sane to the point where she's like completely out of the ring or anything, but Candice LeRae does go and hit her with a drop kick in the back, knocks her down, hits her springboard moonsault and gets the win. Candice and Indy retain, and Dakota's just kind of like, shit. Things aren't going our way still. And they go backstage, and Damage Control is like, okay, Dakota, I don't know where you're doing with us. Like, you're not steering us the way we need to go. And she's like, it's okay, it's okay. I know you lost your tag titles, but I'm still going to be in Money in the Bank. Kyrie's still got a title match coming up soon. Like, we can still do this. We can still turn this around. I know I've been saying this for a while now, but just trust me. Trust the process.
Well, they need a couple wins, don't they?
Yeah, it's been rough for them.
Yeah.
It's been rough. So after that, it comes back, and we're still backstage, and Ray and Andrade are talking backstage. And they're like, you know what? We've got a mutual problem. Carlito and Dijak are both just a little bit, little out of control, a little more than either of us expected, both together and apart. I think we need to talk about working together against these guys. And that's when Dijak comes out of nowhere and just attacks him backstage. Kind of just picks Ray up and throws him into a couple of coolers. He starts hitting Andrade, and he's kind of got the upper hand just from surprising them. And then finally some officials come back and break it up, and Nick Aldis, he looks at him and he's like, you know what, next week, Ray and Andrade, you're going against Dijak and Carlito. We're going to make this official. The four of you are going to be in the ring together.
Not to ruin the momentum of your show, but I don't think we talked about it. Dijak had some kind of weird contract situation with WWE.
Yeah, he's gone.
Yeah, and then there was a weird video on X, I think, of him talking about he's going to go somewhere, and I was wondering if it was a WWE arena or I don't know. I don't know what he's doing, but
Yeah, he was at some other show, and then I think he may have even been backstage at a AEW Forbidden Door.
oh boy, immediately to AEW.
Because he posted a picture backstage and was like, hey, thanks for the great show, Tony.
Yeah, well, wouldn't be surprised if that was his next move.
There's also some rumors going around that a lot of the leaks in WWE may have been Dijak. A lot of the stories getting out that they couldn't figure out who was telling things was Dijak giving the info out.
Well, no wonder he was abruptly dismissed.
Yeah, called up to main roster, never used once, never seen once, and
yeah,
it may have been him giving out some of the info to a few different reporters.
Well, I hope it was worth it.
Yeah, we'll see if Tony turns around and pays him a few $1 million a year just to show up and tweet.
Well, Dijak is alive and well in the Wrestling is Fiction universe.
Yeah, I've got some plans for him still going forward. It'll take us at least another month to build through this. We'll see if it ends up as a contract dispute for him.
Yeah.
And then we've got a singles match, and it's going to be Dexter Lumis and Duke Hudson from Chase U.
That is a
So
matchup I don't think I
DIY,
ever thought I'd see.
yeah. So DIY comes out with their titles flanking Dexter. Johnny's got his on. Dexter isn't carrying it this week for him, and they're just escorting him out to the ring. And then all of Chase U comes out, and Duke Hudson gets into the ring with Dexter. And Duke he's got a bit of a size advantage. He's a little bigger than Dexter, but Dexter just stares at him with these unflinching eyes, like no emotion still, no anything, just unflinching, just right in his face. Doesn't care that he's kind of outmatched a little bit, and Dexter actually throws the first hit. They end up kind of just brawling in the middle of the ring. They're not really quite wrestling. They're kind of just Dexter's fighting. And while that's going on, outside of the ring, Tommaso looks over at Johnny Gargano, and he's like, all right, we're doing this. And he just starts attacking the rest of Chase U. And Johnny Gargano is like, what's happened? No. But then Andre Chase goes over to Johnny Gargano and starts fighting him. So he's like, okay, I have to do this now.
Yeah.
Tommaso Ciampa's got a chair out. He's hitting people. And Duke Hudson's like, what? And that's when Dexter Lumis, out of view of the referee, just hits him with a low blow.
Nice.
And just rolls him up for a pinfall. And Dexter Lumis is standing tall, not raising his hands. He's just standing in the middle of the ring as the referee announces him as the winner. DIY is kind of taking Chase U out at this point, and they get in the ring. They're holding their titles up with Dexter Lumis just standing still between them. But Johnny at the same time kind of just shaking his head like, we didn't have to do that.
No, they didn't have to do it, but they wanted to.
Yeah, Dexter Lumis is just kind of, at this point, just scary. Like, he didn't really wrestle that match. He was literally just throwing punches. He was really just hitting him. It wasn't a single, like, grapple or anything. He was just like, I want to beat this man.
Quite literally like he did. He hit him in the nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, poor Duke. So that'll just kind of give Chase U a little more fire and give him a little more screen time. Then we come back for a Grayson Waller effect. He hasn't had much time lately.
Oh, boy.
And Austin Theory and him haven't really broken up yet. Austin's there in the corner. And their guest is going to be Logan Paul again. And Logan Paul is out there. They're asking him about his match against Giovanni Vinci the next day. And Logan's like, you know what? I'm not even bothered by this. I kind of wanted JD to win this because I kind of like Judgment Day. Wouldn't have minded a little friendly match, but this guy's nothing compared to me. He got kicked out of his group for not being good enough. He's not good enough to fight me. And Grayson's like, you're right, man. You are the greatest champion we have right now. And Austin Theory looks at him and he takes the mic and he's like, you're a bitch, man. He's like, you're the reason I lost the title match against our guest of all people. You've been ruining this for me for a while. I'm done. And he just throws the mic on the ground, pushes Grayson, and walks out of the ring finally.
Oh, boy.
And Logan kind of looks over at Grayson, and he's like, we didn't need him. Anyways, back to the show.
Yeah.
And they kind of just chat for a few minutes, talk up Logan, his skills, his previous matches before it cuts out to break.
Oh, good for Austin, man. A long time coming. Especially how he left with calling Grayson a bitch.
Yeah. He was just like, what do you mean he's the greatest champion? So then, backstage, we've got Finn Balor back there with JD, and Randy quite literally runs into him, like bumps him over. And Randy's like, hey, good luck with your title match against Damian. Doesn't really matter to me who wins, because I'm looking to take out some gold at SummerSlam, and I don't care which of you I have to beat. And Finn gets in his face, and he's like, you know what? Me and you tonight, then. Let's start now.
Oh.
So the main event is officially going to be Randy versus Finn. But before we get to that one, there's one more match, which is Braun Breaker and Ricochet. And it's a really short match. Braun comes out and just dominates that one.
And
He's too
Ricochet's still
fast.
alive.
Yeah, Ricochet does take a spear at the end of the match. Braun is standing over him. And that's when Carmelo Hayes comes out to kind of push Braun away and keep him apart. Baron Corbin comes out. He kind of just pats Braun on the back, and he's like, "Good match, man. Good match. Let's go backstage and celebrate." And then that'll take us to our main event, Randy and Finn. And they've got about 15 minutes. They go back and forth for a bit. And it's a pretty standard match. Like, the two of them, they've got a little bit of anger there. Randy's just kind of humoring Finn, though. Like, he's like, you know what? Like I said, I don't care who I'm fighting. I'm going to take a title next month. And the two of them are kind of going back and forth. And Finn goes to get on the top rope. And Randy does, just out of nowhere, RKO's Finn and pins him for the 3 to end the show. And it ends with Randy just doesn't even care that he won. He just leaves the ring, walks up the entrance ramp, and Finn's just sitting on the ground in the middle of the ring, just angry, just seething and angry.
275, more like 295. I'm a big boy. I've been eating.
That's such a ridiculous video. How do you not love Randy Orton? What a guy.
Yeah. All right. Are we Money in the Bank time?
We are Money in the Bank. We've got 6 matches for our card.
We do.
I do want to say I feel like the 5 WWE is going with is too small.
I agree.
I don't want to see them go like they did in the past, or like AEW is doing with 14 matches a card, but
no.
I think 6 or 7 is a little bit of a better number than 5.
The problem with a lot of PLEs is most of the time is taken up by talking.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so much talking, so much recap, so many video packages.
Yeah.
Was it Elimination Chamber where the entrances for the men's went 20 minutes or so?
Yeah, it was something ridiculous.
But if they can just cut that back and put in one more match, I feel like the last few PLEs have gone by so quickly.
They have. And we are building to SummerSlam, so I'm sure we'll get our way eventually. But anyway, our PLE doesn't have a bunch of talking. It has nothing but talking because we are a podcast.
There we go.
Anyway, we're opening Money in the Bank with the women's ladder match. Lyra Valkyria, Shayna Baszler, Tiffany Stratton, Gigi Dolan, Dakota Kai, and Blair Davenport. And this match opens up, and for some reason, Blair Davenport is just heated. She immediately goes for Gigi Dolan, throws her out of the ring, grabs a chair, hits Gigi, kind of takes her out of the match immediately. And then, the other 4 women in there are brawling. It spills out to the outside of the ring. Tiffany Stratton kind of runs off the ropes, dives over, and takes out 3 of them, while Gigi and Blair over there still fighting on their own. And Tiffany tries to hurry up and sneak a ladder in there and grab the briefcase, but she doesn't notice that Blair Davenport sees her. So Blair runs up to the side of the ladder and literally just pushes it over as Tiffy's on top. And unfortunately for Gigi Dolan, the ladder and Tiffany Stratton kind of both land on her. And she is still outside the ring, sort of suffering. And Blair Davenport, she grabs the ladder on her own, tries to hurry up and do the same. Lyra meets her on the other side, and they're punching and kicking and, trying to knock each other off the ladder. And no success there. But what does happen is Shayna Baszler and Dakota Kai are in the ring, and they kind of get on either side and they just pull both of them down and start stomping them out, kind of brawling. Then they get to each other. They're really fighting. And Shayna Baszler actually gets the advantage on him, but she knows she's not going to be able to climb the ladder, so she's trying to throw him out of the ring one at a time. And she does, but she didn't account for Tiffany Stratton, who's sort of recovering, and Tiffy grabbed a chair and runs into the ring and hits Shayna Baszler with a chair from behind. Dakota Kai is now running in the ring. She gets hit by Tiffany Stratton. Blair Davenport runs. Tiffy kind of hits her with a chair. But while this is happening, she doesn't notice Lyra Valkyria on the top rope waiting for her to turn around. She turns around and Lyra kind of hits this missile drop kick to Tiffy. Gets up real quick, hits her Nightwing on Tiffy, and she runs up the ladder and snatches that briefcase. And Lyra Valkyria is now Miss Money in the Bank. And Gigi Dolan might be dead.
What a brutal match. Poor Gigi Dolan. And I think one of our listeners, John, is going to be very upset with Tiffy taking a loss here.
Yeah. Well, he needs to know it's all part of the plan.
Yeah. But I do think Lyra Valkyria is a good Money in the Bank choice.
Forgot to mention, this will be important later, is we get a Becky Lynch appearance. She comes out and it kind of celebrates with Lyra. You know, they've kind of been off and on helping each other out and supporting her countrywoman. But, you know, Becky's a champion, so it could be her that Lyra's coming after.
Yeah. Yeah,
or
we'll have
Bailey.
to wait and see where she decides
Bailey
to take
anymore. Liv Morgan.
We'll have to wait and see where she takes that briefcase.
Yeah.
Poor Blair Davenport was so ready to take that briefcase and challenge Liv as well too, but
well, she's a peasant.
Lyra's an interesting. Yeah, yeah. In WWE, Liv's character is so unhinged.
I know,
and it's just making me love her even more.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good thing on my part, but it does.
No. All right, so this leads to our Intercontinental title match. LA Knight and Santos Escobar, who I think won like 3 number 1 contender matches to finally get this match. Granted, with a bunch of interference, but in Steven's opinion, it was necessary because he kept getting screwed over. But unfortunately for him, LA Knight has recently won that title, and he's ready for a big defense, and he has a real strong match. I mean, Santos gets a few comebacks in there, but other than that, LA Knight kind of never gives momentum back and takes this match kind of dominantly, hits his BFT, and gets his 1-2-3 victory. And, you know, he's proven to be a strong Intercontinental champion and probably looking for a new opponent now.
Yeah, I didn't expect that match to go any other way. And I know I've said this before, that the Intercontinental title is probably the more prestigious mid-card title.
I would agree with
Always
that.
has been.
Yeah.
But looking at LA Knight, I feel like the US title just looks like it would fit him better.
Yeah.
The look of the title.
Yeah.
Like, it's so weird how certain titles just look wrong or right on someone.
Yeah.
And the US title just looks like it would be
very well. He's like
at home on him.
The American standard of like jean jacket, sunglasses, and just like tight jeans, boots. I mean,
which, speaking of, this is completely off topic, but why did they keep John Cena's spinner belt for so long when John Cena was the only one it really looked good with?
Yeah,
maybe
he's
the Miz as well.
Wanted it too.
Like, the Miz looked okay with it, but like anyone else who conceivably could have had that title just doesn't
so
look
unserious.
Right at all. Yeah. I do miss the old US title design though too.
Yeah.
Before John Cena changed that one to a spinner. but just the American flag one. I don't know why. That's my favorite title design.
It's a classic design. I mean, I remember it as a kid. I remember when they brought it back as a kid because
Yeah,
it went
same.
away for a while.
Yeah, yeah. That one and the undisputed title that like Brock Lesnar wore.
Yeah,
Those are my top two favorite titles.
I was a big 24/7 guy.
That's fair. Big R-Truth fan.
You remember the Hardcore Championship
I
too?
do. I
Yeah,
do.
missed that
Um,
one too.
the cruiserweight title,
Yeah, cruiserweight, built
which
for
they
Rey
tried to bring back a
Mysterio.
little bit. Yeah, Rey Mysterio and like Tajiri constantly being at it, and
Yeah.
old titles, man.
All right.
All
Back to
right,
our
this will
regularly scheduled
this will take us
program.
into our other mid card championship match, Logan Paul and Giovanni Vinci. So they come out and they're just in the ring, and Vinci wants to prove himself, and Logan just thinks nothing of him, honestly. But they put on a good match. They start off with a couple grapples. Vinci takes an early advantage before Logan Paul kind of starts to bring it back. He starts doing a couple springboards, couple big jumps over Vinci when Vinci tries to gain momentum. Um, he actually hits him with like a rolling clothesline where he just rolls over, pops up, and clotheslines Vinci at one point. But they keep going. Vinci starts to rally back. He gets out of the ring for a minute to kind of catch his breath. Gets back in there before the 10 count and just starts taking the fight back to Logan Paul. And then out of the crowd, Ludwig Kaiser comes out.
Oh,
And
I
he
knew
starts
it
to
was
get in the
coming.
ring. But Logan Paul looks at him. He's like, buddy, thank you, but I don't need you. And he just like kind of waves him away. And that's when Logan Paul has got his back turned to Vinci, and Vinci thinks that Logan's distracted, so he starts to go towards him. Logan just turns around, one lucky punch right to the head,
Oof.
knocks Vinci down. Doesn't need to, but he gets up on the rope, hits a frog splash, and then gets the 3 count. So the Ludwig Kaiser distraction didn't even make a difference to him. And
I'm surprised that
Logan,
Ludwig Kaiser listened.
he Logan's a big guy. Like, he's deceptively big for how athletic and
Yeah,
springy he is, but
yeah,
he gets up to the ring, and if Logan Paul is standing between you and the guy you want to fight, and he's like, I don't need you, I've got this.
yeah. I
And
I can imagine the moment in my head of just him waving him off, like get out of here.
yeah, and then just the speed in which he turned around and just punched Vinci as he starts to sneak up on him. Ludwig was kind of like, maybe it's a good thing I stayed out here for a minute. But Logan kind of waved him off, not because he cared about it being a fair match. He wanted to prove himself. He's like, I had a bit of a stumble recently. I lost my title for a bit, and I want to show these guys that I am the best champion out here, as Grayson Waller said. And Austin Theory's backstage watching this match, just angry. Separately, Grayson Waller is watching, and he's just like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Told you he was good. And then that'll take us into our men's Money in the Bank match. We've got Ludwig Kaiser. He just basically stayed out there. Jey Uso, Ilya Dragunov, Chad Gable, AJ Styles, and Dominic Mysterio. Kind of a eclectic group. There's a Ludwig and Jay thing kind of going on where they've been kind of angry with each other, and just some big names in general. So they all get in the ring, and it starts off quick. Jay and Ludwig just go straight towards each other. Jay runs at him, goes for a super kick, hits him, but Ludwig kind of just bounces off the ropes and springs forward for a clothesline. The two of them literally just roll out of the ring fighting. Dom Mysterio kind of just backs away for a minute and just kind of gets out of the ring, lets the rest of them go at it. Chad Gable goes right after AJ Styles, and the two of them start brawling. And while that's all happening, Ilya just looks around, and he's like, fuck it, goes outside, gets a ladder. He starts to climb straight to the top of the ladder, and he looks at the briefcases and looks at all the people fighting around him. He just dives off of it into Chad Gable and AJ Styles. Just right onto them as they're brawling, knocks them down. He's like, this is what I'm here for.
Yeah.
I'm here to fight. he had his moment where he probably could have taken that briefcase pretty quick, but he's like, no, I want to fight these guys.
Yeah.
And he just inserts himself into Gable and Styles. And Dom gets back in the ring, and Ilya kind of looks over at Dom and just kind of, he's like, I don't have any beef with these two. Goes after Dom after that. He immediately goes, just kind of a flying punch towards him, just jumps off his feet. Dom wasn't ready for it. He gets hit pretty hard. So they start brawling on the ground, like literally just like rolling and punching each other, just taking the momentum from each other. Jay and Ludwig get back in the ring, and they start brawling again. Gable turns around. He actually hits Jay with a German suplex just because he's there. And AJ Styles, he's got a free moment. He's looking around. He actually jumps up on the ropes and hits his phenomenal forearm on Ilya.
Nice.
Like, these guys are just all over the place, just fighting. Like, they're less concerned about getting up the briefcase as quick as they can and more just, they've all got something to prove. They've all got a little anger. They've all had losses. They've had feuds with each other here and there. And they just want to take out that aggression. Dom has been kind of forgotten about again, so he gets out of the ring, comes back with a chair, and he comes up to Jay and Ludwig, who found each other again. He hits them both in the back. And Dom kind of just starts taking control a little bit. Ilya and Chad Gable have tumbled out of the ring again. They're brawling over by the announce table. And Dom's just standing in the middle of the ring with his chair, and AJ Styles sees him, and he's like, not today, bud. He knocks the chair out of his hands. He starts fighting with Dom, and he hits a Styles clash where Dom's head just lands right on that chair. And Dom just rolls out of the ring, just kind of dazed, and
Jesus.
he just falls to the ground.
A Styles
So
clash
AJ,
onto a chair.
yeah,
Jesus.
yeah, we thought Cody was gonna die with that steel steps,
Yeah.
and he decided. So AJ gets a ladder, and he starts climbing up that ladder, and everyone else is kind of distracted. And he gets up to the top, and he starts to reach for the briefcase. And Ilya is like, no. He stops brawling with Chad. He runs into the ring. He gets up the ladder faster than you could possibly imagine. And him and AJ start throwing hands up at the top. And they're just fighting up there. Chad Gable's left unattended, so he walks in the ring, sees them up there, and he just pushes that ladder over. The two of them actually go tumbling over the top rope from the ladder as the ladder hits the ropes, and they land on top of Ludwig and Jay, who are fighting like in between the ring and the entrance ramp. And at this point, Dom is slightly recovering. He gets in the ring with Chad Gable, and Chad's kind of distracted from having just knocked the ladder over, and Dom hits a DDT onto Chad and onto that chair that's still in the ring. He kicks the ring up, the chair out of the ring, picks the ladder up, and Dom climbs up the ladder and unhooks the briefcase.
Oh God!
And you now have Dominic Mysterio as Mr. Money in the Bank.
Gotta hear Dom.
And while he's up at the top of the ladder, Rhea Ripley comes out, and she gets up the ladder with him and just is hugging him and holding up his hand in the briefcase with him.
Whoa. Good for Dom, man. He's having a year.
Yeah, he takes a lot of losses, and he kind of just took his opportunity, waited for everyone else to kind of be out, and ran up that ladder, despite the fact that he's probably got multiple concussions from the one hit.
Yeah.
Got a little bit of brain damage, honestly.
All right. Leads us into our WWE Championship match, Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. And this match is everything you thought it would be on paper. I mean, back and forth, both guys giving it the all. It's a longer match, obviously, title match. I mean, Seth has hit his super kick, his Falcon Arrow on Cody. Cody's hit his cutter, and nothing has really finished either off. It's going to take something special in this match, obviously. And the crowd is just kind of more behind Cody, and he kind of feeds off that. He's able to start rolling with his punches and his bionic elbow. Throws Seth into a corner, kind of keeps beating him down with his his punches, kind of kicking him in the middle there. And he does something that he did at WrestleMania that you don't see too often. He actually gets on the top rope and hits a brainbuster on Seth. Uh,
Jeez.
so Seth is kind of really out of it. And, he stumbles to his feet and Cody's in position. He hits his cutter. He hits the triple Cody cutter to really finish Seth off. And, yeah, gets his 3 count and retains. And, Cody kind of hugs his title and he's on his knees, and you can see the look on his face, kind of like he knows he might have gotten away with one and barely got out of there with his title.
Jeez. Yeah, brainbuster. Jeez. God. Some mean moments in these matches tonight.
Yeah. Well, he had to put Seth away somehow.
Yeah. And this will take us to our main event. And they actually flash to the crowd, and right in the front row, Randy Orton's actually sitting in the crowd with his crown in his lap. And the main event is Damian and Finn Balor. And backstage, Nick Aldis comes out to Damian. He's like, I know this is a little strange, but Finn's taking a little longer to get ready, so I'm going to need you to get out there first. You're going to enter the ring first. So Damian's like, yeah, whatever, fine. So Damian walks out his entrance. He's holding his title up in the air. He gets into the ring. And then Finn Balor walks out, and he is full demon makeup.
Oh,
Demon
boy.
Finn's making his return for the Hell in a Cell match.
He's back.
And Damian kind of just takes a minute to look at him. He just starts nodding. He's like, all right, so we're doing this. We're actually doing this right now. And Finn Balor gets in the ring. The Hell in a Cell is lowered over them. And the two of them are just facing each other off. And referee takes the title, holds it up. And he didn't get a chance to take it out of the cell before it's dropped. So the title is just sitting kind of out of the ring. And Damian and Finn just take a good 5 minutes just circling each other, staring each other down, before Finn just drops to the ground and rolls out of the ring. And he goes after Damian's title and just picks it up, and he's just standing in the corner of the cell just looking at it. And Damian gets a little angry. He's like, why is he touching my title? And he gets out of the ring and starts to run at him. Finn just right in the face, title to the face, knocks him down. And Finn just picks him back up, starts slamming him face first into the cell. Finn's a little angry. He starts dominating Damian early, tosses him back in the ring, and goes under the ring and looks for a table. And he pushes the table into the ring. But before he can get into the ring and set it up, Damian gets back up, and he actually hits a big boot to Finn, knocks him down, kind of throws his momentum off. And Damian starts taking the momentum back. He's kind of Irish whipping him into the ropes, clotheslining him. He goes for a power bomb at one point, and Finn kind of wriggles out of it and knocks him down. And then Finn goes and takes that table, and he sets it up against the turnbuckles on the side standing up. And he actually Irish whips Damian into that table. And Damian kind of bounces off of it. He doesn't even get to go through it. He doesn't get to lean against it. He just bounces off of it, lands face down on the ground. And Finn takes his moment. He goes up and just starts kicking him in the back. He's kind of taking the momentum back. However, Damian starts to kind of just hype himself up, gets up. He hits Finn with a good punch right to the head, kind of dazes him, and he hits a power bomb through the table. And some of the table shatters. You can see Finn's makeup kind of coming off him a little bit. You can see some blood pooling around his back from little pieces of table sticking into him. But Finn doesn't let that bother him. He actually reaches back and wipes some of the blood off of his hand and kind of just looks at it, and he's like, okay, stepping it up now. And Finn just kind of goes crazy. He starts just running off the ropes, hits a drop kick. He runs behind Damian, starts kicking him in the back of the knee, taking him out, and he rolls out of the ring again and gets a chair. And he comes into the ring and he starts hitting Damian in the back with that chair. hits him a couple of times, starts to leave him on the ground, and he goes for the pinfall. Damian kicks out at 2. Damian kind of rallies back, and he ends up hitting a... wow, why can I not remember his finisher all of a sudden? South of Heaven. Yeah, he hits a South of Heaven, but Finn kicks out of that one as well. So Finn then kind of just starts getting the momentum back. He hits 1916 on Damian, hits the coup de grace, and he actually gets the 3 count. And Demon Finn not only wins the title, but he actually gets a win as the Demon again.
Oh my god. You did it.
Yeah.
Your world title changed hands. I was wondering.
Yeah, Damian put up a really good fight. Finn wasn't quite ready, but when he saw his own blood, he kind of just...
He was
turned into an animal at that point. Yeah.
Damian lost to a demon. It's okay.
Yeah, and this is one of the storylines that I've had planned since we started the podcast.
Yeah.
I wanted to have the two of them have these multiple matches in a row. I wanted Judgment Day to break apart. I wanted Finn to get the win, but I wanted it to really build up over time.
Yeah.
And I wanted Demon Finn to get a win.
Good card, man. That leads into my Raw, which I will do fairly quickly because we're talking a lot today. All right.
Yeah, we said we were going to do a quick recap, and we did not.
Yeah. Anyway, this is the Raw, would be July 8th, directly after Money in the Bank. Opens up with a Cody Rhodes promo. Crowd goes wild. He comes out and says, like, Seth really made me give everything I got. And he was a worthy opponent, and if I have to face him again, so be it. This is when Drew McIntyre interrupts in his grumpy Drew look and just says, the only reason I wasn't in that match is because Seth stole it from me last week. You need to give me my shot, Cody. And Cody says, I don't think you deserve anything. I don't have to give you anything. Adam Pearce doesn't have to give you anything. If you want a shot at this title, you have to earn it. So it kind of cuts to commercial. When they come back, you see Drew and walk into Adam Pearce's office, and they kind of have a meeting behind camera. You're not really sure what was said or what happened. And this sets up a AJ Styles and Sami Zayn match. Sami Zayn, the former Intercontinental Champion, and AJ Styles just losing out to Santos for a shot at LA Knight. And this is a good long match back and forth. Their styles are somewhat similar. Sammy's a little more frantic, but they both have a good match. I mean, Sammy hits his Blue Thunder Bomb. AJ kicks. Sammy kind of sets him up in the corner for an haluva kick. He thought AJ was hurt worse than he was, though. AJ kind of moves, and Sammy gets his leg stuck up there a little bit. Takes him a minute to get it out, and when he turns around, AJ just comes off those ropes with a phenomenal forearm, knocks Sammy down, sets him up for a Styles Clash, and gets the victory. And hope he gets a shot at LA Knight. It wasn't promised by Pierce, but that's what he's going to ask for.
Yeah. I like the description of Sammy as frantic.
And then this leads into KO and Sheamus calling out the Bloodline because the end of Raw last week, they were kind of jumped and beaten down. And Bloodline answers, but it's just Tama Tonga and Tongaloa. They run out to the ring. They don't even say words. They just start fucking fighting each other. And,
of course.
And Pierce comes out and says, knock it off right now. If you guys want to fight, I'll make this match official. Get me a referee. Referee comes running down there. And this match is what you thought it would be. Just kind of more of a brawl than a wrestling match. It doesn't really look like it's going to work itself out till Ilya Dragunov, who's kind of been working with KO and Sheamus and forming a little faction with them. he kind of pulls Tongaloa off the side where he's waiting to be tagged, and the ref kind of sees it. He's like, "What are you doing? You can't do that." And it distracts Tama Tonga too, and he's looking back and he's like, "What's going on?" He's telling the ref like, "Can he do that?" And this gives KO time to kind of stalk him. Turns around, gets hit with a stunner, and KO covers him for the 3 count. Thanks to Ilya Dragunov.
Nice.
Um, and then this sets up our Becky Lynch versus Tiffany Stratton. It's a non-title match. Becky hasn't been too happy about getting jumped by Tiffy and Nia lately, so uh, Becky, she wants to fight. And unfortunately for Becky, kind of more of the same happens. Nia Jax is out there on the side, not really interfering with the match, but Becky's very aware she's there, kind of distracted. And this is enough for Tiffany, who just uses her speed and athleticism to kind of wear out Becky. And even without Nia's help, Nia didn't really do anything. Tiffy kind of wins the match straight up, and Becky's not too happy, so she tries to fight Tiffy after the match, and this is when Nia finally gets involved, and they're jumping Becky, and interestingly enough, Lyra Valkyria, who has helped her in past weeks and kind of been a part of this rivalry, doesn't come to her aid. And, Michael Cole kind of mentions it on the call, like, where is Lyra? She's supposed to be here tonight. She won Money in the Bank. Becky celebrated with her, but it doesn't look like she's too interested in helping her friend.
The briefcase changes you.
Yeah. And this cuts backstage to Pretty Deadly, who are being quite annoying on a backstage interview, as they do. They're being asked why they attacked New Catch Republic last week. And essentially, they're talking about how they're tired of not getting their matches. They haven't been given a title shot, and they deserve it. And no, New Catch Republic didn't take too kindly to being attacked last week, so they attack Pretty Deadly back, and they're kind of brawling. And lo and behold, here come the Creed Bros, who haven't been in the title picture either, and their match was interrupted by New Catch Republic. So they're start with the brawl too, and New Day tries to come in and talk some sense into their tag division, keep them under control, like let them know you got to earn your title shot. And Pretty Deadly doesn't give a fuck. They start fighting New Day, who is now part of the brawl. And it takes a bunch of officials and referees and Adam Pearce to kind of come in and be like, enough. You guys can't keep attacking each other. If you want your shot, you have to earn it. And that's where it's kind of left.
Did Pretty Deadly appear on one of the shows the last couple days?
Yeah.
Were they on Smack? Did I have a fever dream, or did I have a fever dream, or did they say Pretty Deadly
a couple
karaoke?
Weeks ago, I'm pretty sure they had a backstage interview.
Okay.
Anyway, this cuts to a Lyra Valkyria promo. She talks about winning Money in the Bank. And the crowd's kind of not as behind her as they thought. They're kind of not really happy she didn't help Becky. And she kind of addresses that. She says, Becky's champion. She doesn't need my help. I won this briefcase all on my own. Crowd doesn't like that, and they're kind of surprised. Like, Lyra hasn't been this way since she won that briefcase. So, yeah, she pretty much ends her promo with, I won this by myself, and when I cash in, I'm going to be a world champion for my first time in my career in WWE. So,
okay.
And this cuts to our main event.
Switch.
Yeah, we were wondering what Drew talked about, and essentially Pierce said, "Hey, if you want a shot, you got to beat Seth, because even though he lost, he's essentially the number one contender too after the match he had at Money in the Bank." And I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't know who I wanted to win this match when I was writing this, and I still don't have it wrote down in my notes. I know that it was what you would expect of a Drew and Seth match. Very back and forth, very brutal, kind of like the WrestleMania match they had. But Drew's strength kind of was just too much for Seth, who had a brutal match at Money in the Bank and got hit with a brain buster. Um, his back is kind of given out, and it gives out at the wrong time. And Drew comes flying across the ring, hits his kick, gets the 3 count. Um, as Drew does, makes the ref pick up his hand and declare him the winner. And Raw ends with Drew standing in the ring with his hand held high, and he looks to be the new number 1 contender for the WWE Championship.
Bullied himself back into the title picture again.
Yeah. And
what a good.
Anyway, that's our show. Like and subscribe. Tell your friends to listen. John, if you're gonna listen, I'm sorry about Tiffy. I promise it'll be worth the wait for you to keep listening.
Yeah, I think we did a pretty good Money in the Bank personally. I hope someone leaves a comment on Spotify or YouTube just with their thoughts on our shows. I don't know if you guys know you can do that, but on every episode on Spotify there is a little button that says, "What did you think about this episode?" You can leave your comments for us there. So please abuse that feature. Be mean to us, bully us, tell us how wonderful we are. Just give us some engagement on there.
Yeah, don't bully us though. We're sensitive.
Yeah, we will cry on air.
Yeah. Anyway, as always, I'll have Mr. Steven here shout out social media. And again, if you like our show, please keep sharing as much as you can.
Yeah, so make sure you follow us here. We are on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, and Amazon, whichever one you're listening to us on. Give us a review, leave us comments where you can, and share the links directly with your friends if you can. You don't have to wait for us to post something. Just, hey, if you're enjoying our show, share it with someone. And then if you want to follow us personally, our information is linked on the Spotify bio. It should be on all of the other platforms as well. Personally, if you follow me at Darkstar Shady on almost any platform, you'll be able to find me. YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. Each one has a slightly different content on it, but if you follow everywhere, you'll be able to get a well-rounded experience of who we are. And we'll see you next week.
It's true. You will get a well-rounded experience. Yeah. See you guys next week, and looking forward to Money in the Bank this weekend.